This is Michelangelo's Pieta, probably least well seen from this vantage point, through bulletproof glass to protect it from the crazies and the flashing of cameras. But even from here you get a sense of the lightness of the whole design, and yet you can sense the heaviness, the weight of Christ in her lap. What is most remarkable to me is that Michelangelo was 23 years old when he did this. I always love the interplay of the arches, domes, columns. Now we're looking down one of the aisles on the south side. While most churches have lovely little niches about the size of that little niche right there where the photo is, or the painting is, these have huge niches. This is a dome just above the aisle in front of the niche. Presumably each chapel has such a dome. It's an oval dome, pretty. Interesting, the motivation of an artist painting up there where the odds that anyone could ever see it but him and his associates is interesting. This is Saint Sebastian. I see where he's tied, but I don't see any arrows in his body, which is the way he was martyred. But you can sense tremendous energy and movement. Notice the Roman soldier on his horse. And even Mary in her vibrant turning to look at the soldier. Okay, I'm about halfway down this nave, and if you can, from the video, try to imagine how stubby this church would appear to be now with Michelangelo's design, had it been the case. Here are the crypts, in some instances, I believe, underneath this stonework, of probably either important people or popes. Any one of these domes and the structure beneath it, just by itself in a church, would label that church as extraordinary, I think. Look at the statuary. It's interesting when you look at these grandiose statues that must have cost a bundle. And then the Catholic Church says it does not worship idols. I find that difficult to reconcile. It has become a good spot for tourists to stand for pictures of themselves. But for what reason, I can't imagine. I want to look more closely at the handiwork of that design on that archway. Reminds me of the Pantheon, those recessed octagon spaces. And these are not ordinary columns. Look at how beautifully sculpted they are. Notice those nails sticking out, which I believe probably held tapestries. And those people are taking pictures of a dead pope whose body is ensconced in that glassed crypt. I wonder if there's anyone who doesn't recognize the similarity to this practice and the Egyptian pharaohs. Remember that for the history of this church, people stood, they did not sit. Here you can say some prayers and drop some coins in the box, mighty big box. I can well imagine how the masses who believed in God and this church could think anything other than the heavy weight of moral obligation and duty and penalty if they screwed up in this life. This, I believe, is an altar edifice. Is amazing in its scope, and I wonder what its concept was supposed to be. And is that turning Byzantium? And this, of course, Michelangelo's dome. Here we, in theory, are looking at the burial site of the bones of St. Peter. Certainly, if that's true, this is understandably a revered site. Where you see the mosaic, that is built directly above the tomb. Here in the apse of the cathedral is Bernini the sculptor's dove window, and then the throne of St. Peter, without St. Peter. It's hard to make out any of it with the dark bronze. Again, the irony of having your own throne but never have been able to sit in it. This is the statue of St. Peter that people revere, and if you don't call that worshiping, I'd like to know what it is, but at any rate, this statue predates the church itself. It's not that I intend to ridicule someone's belief, but I absolutely ridicule the hypocrisy of the pretense of the church or of the individuals doing it, that it's something other than what I think it is, or what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. This is the red-robed body of Pope John the 22nd, who oversaw major reforms in the Vatican II conference. Now, something that might give us a sense of perspective, this canopy over St. Peter is 7 stories high. That lady who spent some time praying there was standing over here talking to the guy with her back to her purse in this place. I saw outside this place a person's backpack lying by itself in the middle of the balcony. Over here to the left, I saw another backpack with a camera case next to it, probably all by itself about 20 feet away from where those people are, nobody standing near it. And in the guidebook, this is stated as absolutely the most pickpocket-prone place, period. An elegant holy water sculpture, if you will. So somewhere right in here, according to the map for Steve Reeves. So according to the map, number 9, which is right on that left side of that little nodule on the top, is where St. Peter was actually crucified. So that would be right about in here somewhere, although it's not noted. Using the diagram, it should be right about there. The description is confusing. This may be a copy of a Raphael. This is a mosaic copy of a Raphael work. I could not see any sense of mosaic until I stood real close and looked here. And apparently all of the artwork is mosaic, not painting. Now were I Pope and elevated not only in stature but in height another 30 or 40 feet into the air, this is what I would be seeing. And on a Wednesday it would be filled with human beings. I hope they're not adoring me because they're not supposed to, but who knows? Take what you can get.